I want to let you in on a widely used trick that the police use to get people to allow them to search their vehicles. Listen up. This is how it works. First, you get pulled over for a minor traffic offense, such as speeding, failure to use your turn signal, crossing the middle lane, running a red light, or something similar. The officer then approaches, and it usually starts very casual, very normal. The first question many times is, do you know why I pulled you over? Now, this is not the big trick question they use to get you to give them consent to search your vehicle, but this is one of those trick questions they ask during a routine traffic stop. What they really want you to say is, yeah, I know, I was speeding a little back there, or yeah, I didn't use my turn signal when I was merging onto the highway, or anything that will implicate you in whatever offense you did to make them pull you over. I have had criminal defense cases where the defendant said even worse things like, yeah, I know, I have a restraining order and I'm not supposed to be around my ex-wife's house, but this is the quickest way home. Or this is a good one I've heard too. Yeah, I know, I have warrants. I've been meaning to take care of those. And in reality, the officer was pulling them over for going 36 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Now, I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice, but based on my experience, the proper answer when the cop asks if you know why they're pulling you over should simply be no, sir, or no, ma'am. Be polite, keep your answer short and simple, and you will often find that you will soon be on your way. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. The second question they will usually ask is, can I see your driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance? Now is the time for you to hand them the credentials they're asking for to allow them to inspect them. I also always recommend keeping your proof of registration and insurance easily accessible both in daylight and at night too. One of the best ways, but people rarely use them today, are those registration holders that go on your visor. Or if your visor has one of those little pockets on it, keep them in there. This way, you don't have to open your glove box, the console, or anything else where the officer can look into it and then say he saw something suspicious. Or he may say you were having difficulty as you were fumbling through the glove box and console searching for your registration and proof of insurance. Now, once you provide the officer with that information, they should just say something like, "Thank you, sit tight for a minute, I'll be right back." Then they return to their patrol car, run you and your vehicle, write the ticket, and then the entire ordeal is over. A key thing here is to differentiate between a regular everyday traffic stop and an investigation. Sometimes the officer may continue that small talk with you. This small talk may just be small talk, or it could be what is referred to as gateway talk to try to gather more information. Examples of the small talk may be things like, where are you going today? What are your plans today? Any big plans for the weekend? While these may seem like regular conversational questions and seem very benign, they very well could be the first signs that the officer has moved from a routine traffic stop into an investigation. Now, don't get me wrong, it could just be small talk. After all, that officer has been sitting there for hours waiting for an unsuspecting speeder to come by, and he is just conversational. What are some of those small talk topics you have heard police use? Let me know in the comments down below. What happens, though, when the small talk takes a sudden turn and the questions include questions like, are there any weapons in the vehicle? Are there any drugs in the car? Is there anything illegal in the car? How do you handle these questions? The first rule of thumb goes back to being polite and keeping your answers short and simple. Generally, the answer should simply be no, nothing else, just no. The more you discuss the topic or try to answer the question persuasively, the more suspicious the officer will become. These are what are referred to as closed-ended questions and are usually intended to try to get more information out of you. A simple yes or no is the typical response to a closed-ended question, but if you answer it like, well, no, not that I'm aware of. I mean, my brother was using my car earlier today. I don't know what he left in it. Well, that is going to throw up some red flags, but those open-ended questions are still not the secret trick question that police use to get you to give consent to search your vehicle. These are what also are referred to as leading questions. Similar to leading questions in an interview to try to get you to answer in a certain way, they can be pretty effective. A leading interview question might look like, were you home last night? At the bar with your girlfriend? Or did you go to your mom's house and spend the night since she was out of town? These give 3 specific possible answers, multiple choice if you will, and then the person being interviewed can give the choice that fits their scenario best for them. If it is a defendant in a legal matter that is looking for an alibi, spending the night at mom's house because she is away for the weekend sounds like a plausible alibi, doesn't it? Well, questions like, are there any weapons in the vehicle? Are there any drugs in the car? Is there any alcohol in the vehicle? Are all closed-ended questions, but they're also leading questions too. They are leading you to a simple yes or no answer. If the answer is yes, well, then you have some explaining to do, don't you? If you give a long-winded, persuasive answer that is going to make the officer assume you are hiding something, then further investigation is required. But if your answer is no, that may not be the end of the questions. In fact, the next question will frequently be, great, then would you mind if I take a look in your car real quick? Then we can move on. Or this is one I have heard the police ask, will you give me consent to search your car real quick so we can both get on our way? These questions will often allude to the search process not taking very long, and once it is over, you can go home, both of which are usually not the case. They will usually start a search looking for anything and everything that will give them probable cause. Now you are caught between a rock in a hard place. You said no, there is nothing inside your vehicle. So if there is nothing in the car to worry about, well, what harm is there in letting the officer take a quick look? Well, one little suspicious thing, like a vape pen with a suspicious odor, a baggie with unknown substance, an old beer can from when you went fishing a month ago, or whatever, will lead them to bring in more officers, the K-9 unit, open up a full investigation, and usually give them a reason to detain you. Based on my experience, one of the best answers to these questions about whether they can quickly search your vehicle car is this. Officer, I know you're just trying to do your job, but I am uncomfortable with someone I do not know going through my personal belongings. Or if it's not your vehicle, you might answer it like this. Officer, this is not my car. I do not feel comfortable giving you permission to search someone else's car. Or you can simply state, I know you're just doing your job, officer, but no, I do not give you consent to search my vehicle. Remember, stay polite and keep it simple. Don't give answers like, no, you can't search my car. I have no idea what my brother left in it, or any of his friends for that matter. Most people never even think about this one fact, too. That is the fact that you are probably being recorded the entire time. So make sure you are careful about what you say and how you say it. Anything you say will be used to prove their case and prove they have probable cause. Your objections to allowing the officer to search your vehicle will force the officer to either back off, write a ticket if it is warranted, or in most cases, unfortunately, continue with an investigation. If the officer continues with this type of questioning, you should continue with the same type of answers. A good way to respond to their persistence in searching your car is to answer this way. Officer, I have already told you my concerns. Am I legally obligated to let you search my car? If they say yes, you are legally obligated, and come to find out you are not legally obligated, that is excellent evidence for your defense. If the officer continues to press the issue of needing to search your vehicle, then saying something like this is often a good way to end the questioning. Officer, I have been cooperative the entire time. I do not consent to have my car searched. At this time, I would like to speak to my attorney before I answer any more questions. Please let me know when I am free to go. This leaves no room for ambiguity or doubt about whether you permit or consent for them to search your car. Now, keep in mind, if they can come up with any reasonable cause, they will use this to detain you and try to get a search warrant to search your car. Usually, by the time it gets to this point, you will most likely have several officers on scene, including a supervising officer of some level, and most likely a detective, and probably a K-9 unit. And they will all be looking for some reason to continue the investigation. So keeping the answers to your questions simple at the beginning is often the best way to ensure that any routine traffic stop is just that, a routine traffic stop.